Tech was, but for the most part, not so much. It's not going to annoy a player when you're playing a team that's running and gunning and shooting a bunch of threes, playing like it's AAU. Well, you know what does annoy basketball players? When your shots aren't falling and the other team is just slowing down the game, pretty much just chewing the ball. It kind of gets to you. It's only my ball players know this because you know by default there's not going to be as many possessions in the game. Whereas if you're playing Bama and you're down 8, you're like, that's nothing. That's a couple of shots. I mean, that's like 2 minutes of game time. But if you're down like 8, 10 to Iowa, that feels like 20 or 30 times just from this stage team. But it is quite interesting that the team farthest left on this round is still alive, and the team farthest right on this round is still alive. Something to pay attention to, you guys. You know, let's talk about, I would say, isn't even arguably, I just think it is, one of the worst teams left, and that's Texas. Now, I don't let Texas fans just point to the conversation and say, what?
Good in there.
Dude, calm down. Everyone left in this tournament is a really good team. You just happen to be one of the teams out of these good teams. Does that make sense? I don't know. We're wrong. You gotta understand, we're not comparing you to Texas A&M. We're not comparing you to Vanderbilt. We're comparing you to Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Alabama, Houston, Purdue. You've got the cream of the crop. And if you look at stats and numbers, Texas is arguably one of the worst teams left. And they're right in the middle of this. They're actually pretty close to the Trailblazers, closer than Alabama and Iowa. And where they are, not really the net rating, but the pace of play, that's where you want to be. Moving along here, let's talk about the 4 teams that are just rock solid in here. Dukies, Iowa State, Michigan, and Arizona. 3 out of the 4 seeds, and then a 2 seed. If you don't know what this means, these are teams that have great pace of play, great net rating, and they can beat you offensively. They can also beat some teams. For example, you're not going to see Alabama win games. Vice versa, you're not going to see Iowa win games for 102 to 100. But you can see Duke, Iowa State, Michigan, Arizona doing any of those in back-to-back games. One thing that's quite fascinating about this is Gonzaga sort of this movie. I mean, they haven't played competition for the vast majority of the season. And then Florida as well, they lost up. But outside of Duke, Iowa State, Michigan, Arizona, I got the rest of the field. I'm telling you, they are right on the travel. Music Duke, like a lot now, they shoot by each other, they early back-to-back championship. We got Michigan State, Spartans up with that team. We got Nebraska, Florida, Tennessee, Volunteers, and team. We got Rick, Tino, Hayes, and the Metro Legends, so, all the teams that just stopped, they're right on it. Instead of they all the rich Georgia, that's they've been my dark horse this entire season. It's hard to talk about that. I like Alabama just do a terrible season. I think he's a game changer. His side, he can hit 3, I love everything about him. I think Alabama lacks the player. They also get the delivery. Arkansas just got athletes. After that, they can start playing better. Which Alabama goes blow to blow in there because Jacob, I love him, but the parent father, he's just as good. I know people are going to lose their mind when I say that. Hopefully you get the point. Obviously, A-Cup maybe a tad bit better, but I'm saying it's not like Alabama doesn't have a starter that isn't averaging 25 points a game. Also, pretty hot to Johnny. I really like everything about their play style. Not a great team that's not a shot me, and that's pretty good. The team I can't fight to is Nebraska. I just don't see it. They got the interesting match all the time. That's what they don't have. Like, how Logan can stay good and doing. I like this Tennessee team because they can take over a game. That's what he can. Tennessee's hard to do. I don't like those teams. Hard to good defense, crap. not take pride in defense, which Houston does. I say this. If I remember what defense, the way they play defense, the Red Raiders, so it feels better watching. I watched every single man of basketball game this year. I forget which game it was. I bet in a moment, you know, great play, but Alabama's fans. Maybe it is a combination of both. Alabama fire that motivated, takes it back, they found it out of the field, you have to go to they got big man they also have the side, which I think will have but they have the Mara guy that wide. Good luck out there. But yeah, just to update you guys on this. We 16 teams remaining. Most of the teams left are either in the travel to Vegas or right on their
you can predict this randomly this season. That has the funniest season of all time. First of all, we had some of us big guys. And now we have time and then does a double. Fans, he does not deserve your affection. This is where the beef starts. This is where all the drama begins. You see, in his private little in one FC you don't want to do with. People fans will do with this thing. You ask a Chelsea fan, bro. Chelsea fans last summer. One of the comments Emerson Royale seems better than this.
Two minutes in the first half.
But now, Chapel does have a history of her being rude to her fans and being rude to paparazzi in general. Just look at these videos right here.
Don't touch me, don't look at me. When I'm crying, talking to my girlfriend, that's fucking crazy. Don't look at me like shit. That's the thing where it's how dare I call it abuse? It's like dating about stuff like that. Making you scared. Maybe they're gonna feel about that about me. That's not right. I think like
Assisted by
that's the kind of moment that signals our industry that this person matters. And not fast. Really understand what this is happening. CJ, a few things were happening a lot that are very important to talk about. The biggest one was the rise of the New York Ghost City, where rapper Pop Smoke was up to the face and got him out of the way. Yet absolutely. Like that, like that. What did it actually mean by that? The term originates from the bloodhound brims, a gang out of New York, and is used as a way for members to greet each other and show respect. So it has meaning, it has history behind it. But when CJ was asked about it by rapper Fat Joe, a veteran rap game, someone actually understands where these things come from. His response was a little evasive.
I got kids saying that, you know what I'm saying? I got folks saying that, so it's a worldwide thing now. It's a worldwide thing. Exactly, like anybody.
They didn't really explain where the text came from, and instead, it almost sounded like this thread of word. Like it was just, that's what it means. But that didn't sit well with people who were actually connected to that. Latifah Brenton Johnson, the leader of Bloodhound Rips, served as a collector since that time. The next time actually ended up being prison and everything he owned to people out and gave up their freedom for, which I don't know why they would do that. From his perspective, CJ was profiting off of something he had no real ties to, but that people were and for. That sentiment was echoed by others as well. Chinaman, a rapper and former gang member, with connections to LeBron, also called CJ out, basically accusing him of taking something that wasn't his.
This kid, CJ, basically didn't have no ties to them or whatever, and just basically just jacked their whole shit.
So now what you're looking at is a situation where CJ is using a term, holding a record profit off them, while the people it actually comes from are saying, you know, it has nothing to do with them. Whatever he's doing, it ain't their shit. They're essentially saying, oh, you be yourself, but you ain't us, and you're damn sure not a part of the game. And that's where the comparisons 6ix9ine started coming in. For 6ix9ine, what he was actually next to person. Those real ties actually left in a legal situation. There were consequences. There was proof of involvement. So with CJ, according to what he said, there was no real ties, which made it look less authentic and more like a strategy. I don't believe more in that lifestyle, but if you're going to say that's what you're about, about it, I may think it's dysfunctional, I may think it causes more damage, but if that's generally who you are, at least own it. Now once that narrative started to stick, question, because now it wasn't just about the song, it was about credibility. The image he was building started to feel less like something real and more like something constructed. And hip-hop is a dangerous line to walk. When you're out there convincing the world you're something you're not, the wrong people start to do it as well. Those people don't settle. Comments, people feel like they're borrowing a lifestyle. When that real people are actually dying behind, which is kind of stupid, but that's when the pushback actually gets serious. In the CJ case, the pushback came early. At the same time, there was another problem. He had become bigger than him. The song was everywhere, but outside of the record, it wasn't much that people were interested in. Which one had no clear personality, nothing that separated him from the moment he had just created. That's where artists usually build something real or start to fade. A hit song can open the door, but it can't hold the door on the brain. Just like a gem pusher that gets you in the building, but they ain't gonna lift those weights for you. So y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Skip the gem just a minute. And for CJ, the momentum never really turned into anything. The initial wave was strong, the attention was there, but the time to slow down. The conversation shifted, the excitement faded, and the same energy that once held to the top was there. And there was another piece of the puzzle that started to make things make sense. Because although it felt like CJ came out of nowhere, like how the Heights Ice came out of nowhere, but it turns out that Mr. Ryan was already connected at the highest level. But his dad had the biggest hip-hop radio station in New York in the 90s. The so-called overnight success stories usually have a little nepotism, but in fact, after CJ behind the scenes, there was already a foundation in place for him. CJ had a he was the first one that started music. Jenny was random guy completely to the industry. He had actually been deeply involved in it for years, for decades actually. James was actually the president that was before that, he had already been involved in marketing and at a very high level, helping push the careers of artists like Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, and 50 Cent. So this wasn't just an industry experience. This was someone who understood how to build a narrative around an artist, how to get the right people talking, how to position someone so the industry pays attention so the public can catch his on. So when CJ started to rise, it wasn't happening in isolation. He had been around that environment for long, sort of had learning how to work. High level. But once Ruthie started getting traction, everything moved exactly so you'd expect it to when the right people are involved. It's one thing to get a hit record, but it's another thing to get a hit record. And on top of that, you want the right people around you. The other one, most times, just other people. Now, thanks to also as a manager, the deals came in quickly for CJ. The first record deal was the publisher
Some things never get old.
At the same time, it also made his rise feel different. And now it looked
Brian,
like
back to you.
random viral moment. It looked like something that had structure, something that was being guided towards success. And when people started piecing that together, it just added another layer on top of everything else that was already in question. Street credibility, the Whoopi term controversy, and now this. It all started being the picture. And that's where the conversation shifts. Because having access, having connections, having the machine behind you, that can get you in the door, but it can't make people stay. Because in hip-hop, more than any other genre in the world, people are listening for something beyond the music. They're listening for who you are, the story, the background, the sense that the person behind the music actually has lived something. And with CJ, that part never really felt convincing, because he was trying to lean on something that was not real for him. You get what I'm saying? And once that conversation shifted from the song to the person behind it, everything started looking a little bit different. The lyrics, the image, the way he carried himself, it all started to fall apart a little. Not because the music changed, but because the perception of him changed. Or should I say, the cracks started to show. Obviously, once people feel like something isn't real, the doubt that sits in the background just becomes louder and louder. And over time, it slowly disconnects the audience from the artist, quietly, almost invisibly. In CJ's case, that disconnect happened pretty fast, right? And that's when the timing can become a double-edged sword, because the same thing that helped him rise is also what made it harder for him to maintain that type of success. He stepped into an open lane, but when that moment passed, there wasn't enough underneath it to carry it forward. And that's usually what separates a viral artist from a lasting one. After Whoopi, CJ kept dropping music, but nothing really stuck. And honestly, how could it? When your very first moment out the gate is a Billboard Top 10 record that takes over the entire internet, you've already set the bar at a high level that's almost impossible to clear again. Everything that comes after that lives in Whoopi's shadow. It's a blessing and a curse. The song put him on, and in a way, the song also boxed him in. It's happened to plenty of artists. Panda is a good example with Designer. Now, when you look at CJ's run, it all starts to make sense. It wasn't just that he blew up fast, it's that everything around him was built for that one moment. The timing, the image, the machine behind him, all of it was designed to get him there. But at the end of the day, if we're being honest, the fake gang member thing just didn't really help, right? You can have the best team in the world behind you, the right look, the right song, but if people don't believe you, none of it matters, right? Anyway, if you made it this far, drop a like on this video, and if you're new here, my name is Black and Speaks, nice to meet you. Y'all remember CJ, by the way? Because I feel like probably have something to say about this entire conversation. So, y'all let me know in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Just when you think Arsenal are about to win their first trophy in 6 years, this man appears and drops a routine cross onto Nico O'Reilly's head. It didn't seem like Arsenal were even trying to win. It seemed like they were playing for a draw. In a cup final.
I'm really pleased because I know when we open it with SBK create a team like it's almost unbeatable.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Chief. Saying this after you've more or less dismantled the team for about 70 minutes is wild. But it's unsurprising. This is Pep Guardiola's brand. He probably told Arteta that Arsenal played well